Betty, I know that as you and Tom settled into parish life, a new thing kind of branched out for you, and you became really interested in working with women's groups. I know that happened in two ways. One of them was that you actually worked with women's groups in the parish, but also you became directly and deeply involved with the ACW in your area. Could you tell us a little bit about those?
Well, I probably got a little, I was going to say annoyed, but disinterested in what they were studying. It seemed to me to be very perfunctory and not of much value. So one summer at the lake, I decided I'd spend the summer praying about a book that maybe we could study, and it would be good. But by the time the end of the summer came, I'm packing my stuff in my bag at the table, and I'm thinking, funny Lord, you didn't give me an answer to that question. And I'm holding in my hand Woman to Woman. So the little voice said, well, what's the matter with the one in your hand? Just that seemed to be the way it came. So I thought, oh, yeah, I guess, because every chapter is different. So when it came time to do it, I used to have to fight for the time on the ACW meeting, because it was all right to spend 20 minutes deciding what kind of potatoes, mashed, boiled, baked, whatever you're going to have, but you couldn't have 5 or 10 minutes to have a devotional time. So I thought, well, I had sort of said it maybe not quite that way, and I got into this book, and I had chosen that evening How to Pray for Your Alcoholic Husband. I don't know why, that just seemed to be the one that I felt drawn to. And after having done this, a woman came over as she was leaving and said, how dare you do this? Didn't you know that Mary Jane's husband was an alcoholic? I said, no, I hadn't a clue about anybody. I was relatively new too, so anyway, she left, and so did all the others, and I said to God, that's it, I've had it. I'm not going to do that anymore. It's just not worth it. And as I put my books in my bag and I was the last one out, there was another little person came out from behind this door, and she said, could I talk to you for a minute? You see, I've got an alcoholic husband, and nobody has ever helped me with this before. Well, you could knock me over, but
Speaking of redemption.
Yes, but to have this happen was pretty amazing for me. So I felt very much of God's affirming that this was the thing to do. And my friend who was in charge of the whole deanery, I told her about the book, and she bought them. I think she said she ended up buying 100 books, that different ones wanted their own book, you know, and so forth, so forth.
Well, that moves
In the
on.
deaneries.
That moves on over into the next part of it, because you were. I know that you became. You walked out of. No, that's not the right way to put it. You ended up carrying that outside of the parish into the ACW and all the surrounding area. Can you tell us a little bit about that too?
Yes, in the next parish, there was a letter under the door inviting me to do deaneries in the Diocese of Toronto, and there were 20 deaneries. Mainly I focused in their big annual meeting. Each one had an annual meeting in those days. And so we did this type of work within, in the most creative way we could possibly think of, pretending we're doing a radio interview or whatever. But it could have been anything. So that's the way that things, and I of course always was pushing, to put it gently, prayer within all these areas and trying to make it an easy approach.
So prayer was developing now, and much further afield.
Yes, yes.
This is interesting. Thank you, Betty.